you understand?
Hey everybody, I'm Tony Jones, and welcome to the Tony Jones Show.
There's just not enough people are willing to take the risk. It's just sort of a herd mentality, a lemming-like mentality. If you don't go with the flow, you're anti-American and therefore a suspect.
The Tony Jones Show, featuring punk, rockabilly, psychobilly, and Providence, Rhode Island's finest, starts right now.
He's a dangerous militia member, I hear. Oh, and there she blows.
Friends, the time for mediocrity and broadcasting is over. My name is Tony Jones, and you are tuned in to the Tony Jones Show, your destination for talk and rock. Online at TonyJones.org. On Facebook, it's Facebook.com/Tony Jones Show. On the almighty Twitter at Tony Jones in RI. We started off with some brand new, something from our old pal Michael Graves. He's got a bunch of new releases out. That was Night of Samhain. A special 2-CD set, Zombies Unite. You guessed it, the track you heard was Zombies, because it's Halloween 365 days a year right here on the Tony Jones Show. With me in studio, my former all-the-time co-host, now occasional co-host, George Garner, in the hot seat tonight. George, good evening.
Good evening, hence the comment about the 360 Halloween.
What's new with you over at the Haunted Cabaret? You guys staying out of trouble over there?
Actually, I haven't been in trouble lately, but I'm doing my best to get back into trouble. So, I don't know. I'm espousing some political views along with the horror and the slashers. So, I don't know. See what happens there.
And we've made the observation on your show and on this show that recently, sometimes, and a lot of times lately, nonfiction is... fiction is not trumping nonfiction these days.
No, that's very true. And yeah, if you remember back, in the day, not so long ago, I started the show Haunted Cabaret to discuss, all things horror. When I said all things horror, I'm thinking about, like horror movies, Comic-Cons, speak to some horror genre authors. But that fell by the wayside because, like you said, just, go online, look around, and, I mean, how does a Christopher Lee movie compete with ISIS, chopping off heads and burning people in cages?
Or meeting at Oakland Beach, a mere miles from our very studio here.
Very true. I'll tell you, there's going to be dead air because really, it's almost incomprehensible. Even 20 years ago, the idea that Oakland Beach in scenic West Warwick,
it was terrifying down there, but for a different reason.
Yeah, I mean, the terror usually involves stepping on a used syringe back in the days of AIDS. Getting rolled a little bit around if you were there after dark because they needed money to go to Iggy's Clam Cakes, But yeah, it's a very different escalation of horror, just worldwide. I mean, I couldn't live to see better days. I'll tell you.
That's I don't want to get too personal here on the program, but
you always do.
My girlfriend would like to have children sooner rather than later. And
don't have them anywhere near West Warwick.
That's exact. Anytime that conversation comes up, I say, take a look at the nightly news tonight, and think about if you want to bring more children into this world.
Well, actually, I think
that was very depressing, and I apologize for that.
Well, actually, I'm thinking maybe it might be a little rough on you and your girlfriend, but what I was thinking is, in I think it was the Wall Street Journal a couple of days ago, they had a full-page, front-page feature article on the female fighters of the PKK Kurdistan resistance. Now, I think one of those women would be sufficient to deal with the horrors of the modern world. How about let's recruit a couple of them to come to the maybe what do you call it? We'll import a few brides once they finish the war over there.
Imagine that soccer mom.
I'll tell you. Yeah, she'll fill that soccer ball full of bullet holes. Like that score doesn't go her kid's way. I mean, I would have confidence. Yeah, she could handle it.
So
go ahead and have kids, Tony. Just be careful about with who.
So a messier transition has never been made because one of the things that we have been wanting to do and which we will be doing here on the Tony Jones Show moving forward is not only interviewing local politicians, not only interviewing the civic involvement types, not only interviewing local musicians, but we want to start getting through and talking to more filmmakers and more authors here on the Tony Jones Show.
And therefore, that was not a messy transition because this author sitting here at the table with us has written an epic called Security Through Absurdity. And if that wasn't an absurd shtick that I just gave you, I don't know what is. Absurdity is the key. Go ahead.
Rachel, good evening.
Hi, how you doing, guys?
Roll that microphone a little bit closer to you there.
Like this?
There
is
we
it
go.
on?
Perfect.
Testing. Yeah, okay.
Tell us about how you got in. And by the way, you're surrounded by a fine author in George Garner, a semi-fine small piece author in Tony Jones. But tell us how you got into writing.
Oh, I never wanted to be a writer ever. And then I was a painter, and I was in Boston. And I couldn't find a place to show my work, so I ended up opening my own place. It was in the North End. It was called Entropy Place. And I was showing my artwork, and I had a noise band called Mr. Couple of Drinks. And that hit number 7 on the college charts for a while.
How long ago was I remember all this? I remember Entropy Studios, and yeah.
Yeah. And
I'd be proud to say that was before my time.
Yeah, this is over in the North End of Boston. And then I ended up finding out that I had multiple sclerosis. Well, they didn't know what it was yet. And I got married. And that husband of mine, he lived in Connecticut. And I moved to Connecticut, and he said, you have to get a real job. So the next thing you know, I'm working for a defense contractor. And I was the youngest person there. And I was right when email was starting to get accepted. And I knew how to use email. And I got instantly hired, and I got in charge of marketing communications and in charge of eventually 5 divisions of this security.
You realize it would have been a lot easier to just get rid of the husband one way or the other.
Well, eventually he did go.
Especially after he told you to get a real job.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. That would have touched me off right there.
If he hadn't done that, I wouldn't have experienced all this stuff. And when you said, how did you get into writing, the only thing I've ever written before is a grant proposal, either for my artwork or to try to get a piece of defense contracting equipment into the hands of the U.S. military. When I finished that job, I was pregnant with twins, and I wanted to, basically just be a stay-at-home mom with these twins. I had left my man, and I had invested in real estate, and that was right before the bubble popped. So the second book in the series is called Bubbles Will Pop, and that's when the character in the book starts waking up to a lot of things politically. And the third book in the series is called The Big Show, and that's when I, in real life, and my character in the book really went basically balls to the wall and wanted to get involved with national politics, and I got involved with the Ron Paul campaign, and I was in charge of the marketing communications for that money bomb.
Because when I first heard your name, was being involved in the Liberty Movement and some different book clubs. Did that kind of dovetail you into wanting to write some of those experiences down?
Well, when I did start a book club after the first Ron Paul run for presidency, because I really wanted to talk to real people, real neighbors, about some of the things that you start picking up online and you don't know if it's true or not. So I started a book club called Freedom is Fundamental, and that started with 7 people, and it kind of blew up to be over 120 people. And I realized really quickly that people didn't read. So I started interviewing authors, and I started doing Skype conversations with people like the underwear bomber witness, Kurt Haskell, and author James Perloff. I had a couple different authors come through. Anyhow, when I got back from that RNC, I got elected and all the way to the RNC. I came home and I was so, I would say, horrified by what I'd witnessed at the RNC. That I quickly disassociated from the party. And
that was the case for quite a few people, correct?
That was, and I spent every night writing. That's when I started writing, when I was so freaked out. I didn't know what to do. I had these little babies. I couldn't paint because of the oil, the fumes from the oil paint, and all I could do was write. So I just started writing. And when I finished writing it, I passed it into the publishers. They told me he'd written 4.8 novels and that they would have to break it down to a trilogy, and that they wanted me to use a pen name, and they wanted me to get life insurance.
That I would consider to be a compliment.
Yeah, so I said, all right, well, I tickled some funny bones somewhere. Okay, so that's good. So that's the long, unabbreviated version of why I started writing.
So we're going to go back down to some local music, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to talk more with Rachel McIntosh, Security Through Absurdity. But before that, we're going to hear from the sweet release now. Here's Whether or Not, right here on The Tony Jones Show.
Try to relax your mind.